So we have my executive board sitting alongside us, a number of roles and responsibilities that they all share. Let me start by explaining why we're all sitting here. We're sitting here because we know that the next stage in the reform journey is about area alignment. It's about making sure that we've got area associations that are leading on some of the core pieces of the work that come together to form the pillars that I've just talked about, and our need to make sure that that also filters down properly and sensibly into our area associations. So we have a number of the challenges that we talked about this morning, and I'm going to turn immediately to my left, to Hamad, who is the president of the African Area Association. One of the big issues that we will be bringing back to Council later this year will be our proposals around transfers of allegiance. And here let me pay tribute to Hiroshi as well, my Japanese colleague who has been helping shape those proposals. So Hamad, we know that in Africa, transfer of allegiance probably has a bigger impact on your area than almost any other area. Tell me your thinking behind this and the work that we have undertaken already as a council.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je voudrais parler en français, pour permettre à ceux qui veulent utiliser les casques de pouvoir les porter. Je vais parler en français. Bien, je suis heureux de prendre la parole pour parler d'un sujet préoccupant, d'un sujet qui concerne directement nos athlètes, nos sportifs. C'est le changement de nationalité et les conditions de changement de qualité de compétiteur pour des pays nouveaux par rapport aux pays d'origine. Cela affecte effectivement l'Afrique, mais notre souci est venu justement des fédérations qui en sont victimes, mais aussi d'autres échos des pays qui accueillent ces athlètes dans les compétitions continentales. Quelquefois, nous avons entendu des gens dire que les championnats d'Europe, les championnats d'Asie sont plus proches des championnats d'Afrique que des championnats continentaux. Donc, toutes ces situations ont des conséquences diverses. Mais nous, notre approche, c'est toujours de prendre l'athlète et de lui donner les meilleures conditions de sa carrière. Nous respectons la liberté de l'athlète qui bénéficie, comme tout être humain, des droits de l'homme, d'aller là où il a envie d'aller. Mais il faudrait garantir qu'en allant là où il va aller, il trouve effectivement mieux vivre, une façon de bien vivre. Ça n'a pas toujours été le cas. Et surtout, c'est les plus jeunes. Les plus jeunes qui n'ont pas la capacité de décider d'eux-mêmes. Ils ont moins de 18 ans, de 16 ans, parce qu'on a aussi des compétitions de jeunes. Et ces athlètes qui vont dans d'autres pays participent naturellement à ces compétitions de jeunes. Et souvent, leurs parents ne sont pas consultés au moment où ces athlètes quittent les établissements secondaires pour aller faire des compétitions ailleurs. Et dans beaucoup de cas, les athlètes n'ont pas toujours la nationalité de leur nouveau pays. Ils ont juste un permis, ils font la compétition, et quand ils ne sont plus performants, ils sont remis à leur pays d'origine et leur avenir est quelque peu compromis. Donc ce sont toutes ces choses-là que nous devons pouvoir regarder, réglementer au niveau de notre association internationale, mais en regardant aussi en direction des fédérations, parce qu'il faudrait que les fédérations nationales, surtout dans les pays où on constate ce changement, que ces fédérations-là, avec les autorités locales, trouvent un cadre acceptable pour la vie des athlètes qui décident de faire la compétition. Parce que quand un athlète gagne une compétition dans son pays, c'est une référence, c'est un modèle pour la jeunesse, c'est de la fierté pour la nation. Et dans beaucoup de pays qui se construisent en termes de citoyenneté, cela mobilise la jeunesse vers un idéal fort d'appartenir à une même nation. Donc, toutes ces valeurs doivent donc être regardées et donner ainsi à l'athlète la possibilité d'apporter pleinement son rôle dans la société et garantir le mieux-être pour sa vie et son avenir. Il faudrait que l'athlète après la compétition, trouvent une vie décente. Surtout ceux qui nous ont fait rêver, qui ont fait rêver des millions de jeunes, et on les trouve dans des conditions difficiles de vie à la fin de leur carrière. Ce n'est pas acceptable non plus. Donc, il y a un besoin de lier la vie de l'athlète à un système d'éducation qui lui permet de se réinsérer dans la société le moment venu. Ce sont toutes ces choses que nous n'avons pas considérées. Et je crois qu'il est temps que nous nous regardions nous-mêmes au miroir et trouver les bonnes solutions pour le produit le plus important qui nous réunit, qui est l'athlète. Voilà, Monsieur le Président, comment je sens, moi, en Afrique, cette approche de changement de nationalité.
Hamad, thank you. Now, the way that I have defined, and I think the Executive Board now has worked with me on, is the concept that empowerment is probably best defined by work that we resource at the centre. Hamad has just talked about one of those work streams. The way that we drive it through the continents and into the federations, but that we share best practice wherever we find it amongst the area associations and amongst our member federations. So if I may turn to our Asian President, Dahlan. Dahlan, I know the sport has for many years been talking about the importance of a coordinated, structured calendar to allow us to showcase our sport at times of the year where it is most important and to provide better rhythm, understanding and a narrative for our federations. Talk to me a little bit about the work that you have undertaken through the Council and through the Area Association on calendar coordination.
First, thank you, Mr. President, and I'd like to present my appreciation and thanks to bring all the member federations and all the stakeholders here to think about our future. The calendar itself, if we take it from the level of the member federation to the area to the IAAF series, everybody has that concern because we run our day and life on the calendars where we have to prepare our athletes and we have to train them, but at the end of the day we have to look for a place for competition.
Thank you.
So in all the levels there is an importance in the calendar, but also it varies. The level of the competition varies. So the objective of this working group is to study the whole calendars from the level of the member federations to the area to the IAAF series and to bring out the best solution that it will give the athlete the access to compete in his federation, area and the IAAF level series, because there is no weak calendar. Everybody thinks that his calendar is the best, but our duty as IAAF is to give the chance to everybody to have, it's like a scale that you start in your area meeting or in the federation or national meetings, then to the area, to the World Championship, because this is the level that we think. We have studied the calendar around the globe, and we find it really difficult, first of all, because what is good in the East is not going to be good time on the West. So we have to find a way that to push the objectives of the highest level to give the chance to the area and also to give the chance to the national federation to practice and do their championship until they reach the level of the global level, where that the athletes are ready, the competition are ready, and also the world is ready to see that level. So we are working on that one. This is going to take some time, but we are under your leadership. We are dedicated to finalize this as soon as we can, because we need our athletes to be ready and to be fit and when the time of the competition comes.
Dahlan, thank you. Svein, President of Europe, you chose a more challenging, slightly more controversial role and responsibility, and that's around records. Where has Europe got to on that thinking?
We had a council meeting in April in Paris. We started a kind of working group in January with very qualified people to look at the records, European records. We cannot look at anything else than European records. It was unanimously recommended that we come forward to the IAAF with some recommendations. We have brought those recommendations forward. We are met support, we have met opposition, but we have started a discussion that I'm very proud of. We have to discuss this, and I'm very, very proud I get support, for example, from Haile Gebrselassie, President of Ethiopian Federation, from Daphne Skippers only last week, and we are working on this. We put it forward to the IAAF, but Seb put it back to us. Well, I'm not sure I really like that, but we are going to work on that. I need your input from the people in the room here. You can come to all of the council members of Europe with your ideas or things, because we are doing this for the credibility of the sport, and we are doing this, don't forget that, for the clean athletes of the future. That are the most important for us, all of us, to protect and work for.
But Svein, it's fair to say that there is a lot of agreement on tightening up the testing procedures and the storage of samples for the ratification of world records.
Yeah, I think there is 3 or 4 of recommendations nobody is contesting. And I don't know if you've seen, only last night I was interviewed by Duncan McKay inside the games, and I said that, okay, we said 205 as the starting period, but maybe I think, but together with you, my colleagues, and the council, I think we should propose that we start to look after the out of competition testing, which started in 1991. We can go back that far, but we are proud of what we are doing, and we will continue to this, but we need you, as I said, we need input from you guys. We need more consultations. We need more legal advice. It's a long step forward, but I'm sure under your leadership, Seb, we'll get there.
Svein, thank you. Now, I talked in my opening remarks today about the next stage of the journey, post the reforms that we all came together for in Monaco last November, and that was how we make them practical, both at an area and then a member federation level. I've asked my dear friend Roberto to lead through Consudatle on work around area alignment, and actually let me compliment him and Consudatle, because I think you changed your constitution just recently, and much of it is now in alignment with what we all agreed upon in November. So, Roberto, talk to me a little bit about the work that you see going forward, and maybe the work that you have already undertaken in Consudatle.
Mr. President, friends in athletics, when we foresee the future, we shall remember the past. In the ancient Greece, athletics became an important tool for the preparation of the youngsters for life. And at that time, they were very strict in ethics rules that comprised every aspect of now we are debating again. Integrity was one of the main worries of the Greeks. The Greeks that gave us democracy and so many institutions that until now are present, they gave a legacy, very important. They choose athletics is the most important sport discipline there, and they took care of the youngsters and their preparation, their moral preparation for the future. Nowadays, we are facing very great challenges. Seb and his staff and IAAF as a whole are trying to do our best in order to prepare codes of conduct, in order to prepare documents for integrity, taking into consideration not only the grassroots as the high-level athletes, coaches, officials, every aspect of the athletic world. In Consudatle, we had the opportunity to align with these procedures a little bit earlier. We changed our constitution. We gave the power for the athletes to decide, because they are part of the General Assembly, 3 of them, some of the best athletes we have produced. And the president of this commission is also a member of the executive board. Also, we gave the right for the president of the Coaches Association to take part as with the right to vote and to decide as the member federations for the future of athletics in our area. I believe that was a first step in order to make transparency. Some of our federations have done that in the past. Just to give an example, in Brazil, we have 19 athletes in the General Assembly. We have 27 state federations and 19 athletes decided in the same way the future of athletics in that country. But in Consudatle, we are also working harder and harder on that. But we may pay attention in something. It is important to have the conduct, to have the rules, but we must abide for those rules. Each one and every one of us shall take in consideration that our role is fundamental in changing the image of athletics in the world. I'm sure that with the leadership of SEB and with the help of my colleagues that are presidents of the different areas and the federations all over the world, we can do our work well. Thank you.
Roberto, thank you. Now, the 2 remaining area associations are in large part island communities. I'm going to turn to Victor Lopez, president of NACAC, because in my opening remarks I also talked about pockets, exemplars of best practice, and NACAC has, in my view, always had a very open approach to gender balance, to gender leadership in the sport. You've been doing that in good ways for many years. It was an obvious thing to ask NACAC to lead in this area. Victor, take us through a little bit of that work and maybe a little bit about the task force that we've created to help us with that.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you for choosing NACA area, which have been a leader in the movement of women participation. For some reason, have taken us some years, but we are at the point right now that we feel we not only enhancing gender equity, but also gender equality. You know, for example, my council is we have 5 people in the council. We have 5 women and 5 men. We have in our association 9 women's president of member federation. That's about 30% of 31 countries. And we want to join you and join your manifesto that women gender equity, and hopefully by 2023 we have gender equality. And just yesterday the council approved the composition of a new task force that's going to be led by our dear friend, member of the council, Stephanie Hightower from USA, which is the main member federation behind the movement on gender equity and gender equality. Within that task force, we're looking at programs of mentorship, programs of having women's seminars, also programs of women's commission in every member federation and the area associations, and the development of gender equality at the end is going to be very beneficial for our sport, because we all know women work very hard. They're always behind you, as you all know. My wife is always behind me helping.
She's behind all of us, actually.
And the same is I've been seeing now more people, more our friends, males, with their wife right there behind supporting. And I think it's time for the whole world, just not in the sport level, industry, finance world, school programs and so forth, that gender equity and gender equality come forward. I think the task force will deliver, and the program will start right away. As you know, we have a women's seminar from the Americas every year now, and it's growing and growing. And so I see in the future as equal women participation in all aspects of the sport, athletes, coaches, and leaders. So thank you very much for selecting us to lead this project.
A lot of hard work ahead.
No.
Geoff, the other large island community, 40 million people, president of Oceania, and probably more sea than any of us have ever imagined in our life. I know traveling with you around Oceania is I think is probably best defined by the tyranny of distance, but I know that one of the big hot topics last year when we were talking about reform and change was can we come together as a council with a better way of area representation, a better global balance within our council, and that's the work that you have undertaken through Oceania. Tell us a little bit about it.
Thanks, Seb. It's been a pleasure to be part of the Governance Reform Working Group, and if I can just reflect on the process that we've been through over the last 12 months in relation to governance reform, we looked long and hard at all of the structures of the IAAF going forward, and one of the results of that was what we passed in December of 2016, which ensured that there would be equitable geographical distribution and representation on all organs of the IAAF. So that's committees, commissions, working groups, even within the office in Monaco. But importantly, that geographical representation that is on the council. Now, I speak as the lonely representative of Oceania on the IAAF Council, but I know my colleagues, both up here at the front this morning and also around the council table, probably become a little annoyed at me because I make sure if I am the lonely voice, I'm going to be a very loud voice. Sometimes they appreciate it, sometimes they don't, but that is my role. Would I like to see more people from Oceania on the IAAF Council? Absolutely. But I am heartened by the fact that for the first time we have made a conscious decision through our governance reform process and adopting the Constitution that the commissions, the advisory bodies, the expert advisory bodies will have people from Oceania within them, from Consudatle, from NACAC, from Europe, from Africa, from Asia. So the voice will be heard at that level, and at that level they inform the council in the work and the decisions that we have to make. As an individual on the IAAF Council, I have roles and responsibilities to my own member federation. As small as it is, I do have those responsibilities. I have responsibilities as an area president to my area, but at the IAAF Council level, first and foremost, I have a responsibility to the globe, to the global sport of athletics. It's no longer about Geoff Gardner, it's no longer about Oceania, it's about developing the sport globally. But in doing that, we have to respect diversity. We've done that in the Constitution. We have a transition phase to ensure that our sport, which is made up of roughly 50-50 men and women, is going to be reflected within the constructs of the IAAF Council. By 2027, we will have a balance. We also have the athlete's voice, so important. These guys are what the sport's all about. And from 2019, we will have 2 representatives on that. So we've reflected diversity. The question now is the representation on council sufficient going forward? That's a question that we'll be discussing upstairs in room 14 on level 3. Seating is restricted. There's a few seats left, so you'll have to hurry and scurry. But I look forward to you coming up there, because we need your feedback. Because we're in a consultation phase, we need your feedback to inform us and the recommendations that we will then take to council about area representation. So I welcome your thoughts and thank you for the opportunity.
And, well, thank you for that. And clearly, given that we are all men up here, we have some way to go in terms of making sure that we have the right balance in all our organisations. I did feel I needed to say that before I got beaten up by all my female colleagues over lunch and the rest of the day. But I did, thank you, Anna, that's very kind of you. I did also just want to briefly set the scene this morning to show that while all these area presidents have their Herculean tasks within their own area associations, that we are now beginning to bring together the work that they're doing through their area associations to help us turbocharge these changes and make sure that they are more relevant and applicable to our member federations. So let me thank them, and I'm sure you would want to acknowledge their presentations this morning, but also the work that they're doing way, way beyond their role as area presidents. Thank you guys for being with me this morning.